be right back. On Nick. We'll be right back. On Nick. Now back to the show. On Nick. Now back to the show. On Nick. Now back to the show. On Nick. You're watching Nick. Now back to the show. Coming up, it's the Fairly OddParents. Now here's more Fairly OddParents on Nick. Coming up on Nick, it's Glenn Martin DDS. Now here's more SpongeBob. Coming up on Nick, it's SpongeBob. Now here's more iCarly. Up next, it's SpongeBob. On Nick. Up next, it's SpongeBob. On Nick. Up next, it's more SpongeBob. On Nick. Up next, it's the Fairly OddParents. On Nick. Up next, it's the Mighty Bee. On Nick. Up next, it's Back at the Barnyard. On Nick. Up next, it's more Back at the Barnyard. On Nick. Up next, it's Brain Surge. On Nick. Up next, it's more Brain Surge. On Nick. Up next, it's iCarly.
Awesome!
On Nick. Up next, it's more iCarly.
Awesome!
On Nick. Up next, it's the Penguins of Madagascar. On Nick. Up next, it's more Penguins of Madagascar. On Nick. Up next, it's Malcolm in the Middle. On Nick at Night. Up next, it's George Lopez. On Nick at Night.
Malcolm in the Middle is up next, followed by more Malcolm in the Middle. And then Everybody Hates Chris. Tonight on Nick at Night. Spend an hour with George and the Lopez family starting next. Then stick around for The Nanny. Tonight on Nick at Night.